Now, a story you'll see only on Eyewitness News, survival techniques.
Mass shootings have become part of our dialogue. We report on them, discuss them, often debate how to stop them.
But what can you do if you're in one? After the Orlando nightclub massacre, we wanted to know more about what you can do. Tactical
experts say there are 3 points to remember. First, run. If that option fails, hide. But don't box yourself into a corner. Make sure there's still an exit.
Finally, as a last resort, fight. Eyewitness News reporter Brian Yacono met with a former police sergeant turned active shooter response instructor for some potentially life-saving advice.
We can't emphasize enough, the #1 thing to do if you're in a shooting situation is to run. Get yourself away from the shooter. If that doesn't work, though, find a place to hide, but make sure it's not a bathroom or a coat closet like this where there's only one exit. And if all else fails and you're within what some call a bad breath distance of a shooter, there are things you can do to fight for your life.
We have seen the images from Orlando, shooting victims carried from the scene, ambushed by a gunman. San Bernardino, Aurora, Virginia Tech. Mass shootings where a weapon and fear took control of innocent people. Alan Garcia, an active shooter response instructor, former police officer, and lead instructor for a municipal police training academy, walks us through some last-ditch options. A gun like this semi-automatic pistol is a machine. Its system of discharging a bullet and automatically loading a new one can be interrupted.
If I take something even as simple as my thumb and put it on the back of that slide, now, most people will think, geez, if you pull the trigger, it's going to break your finger. Look what happened. It's a paperweight, okay? It's done. Malfunctioned. Will not work.
He shows us a second time how the gun can be stopped.
Weapon fires. Just the palm of my hand. Behind the slide of the gun. That's it. One round.
With the weapon disabled, he says, control the gunman's hands so that another weapon can't be drawn. If you're in a group, Garcia suggests making a plan to pin down and restrain the gunman, like you see here in these active shooter training demonstrations. And if you find yourself in that contact position with a shooter, Garcia also says you can go after the attacker's eyes, whether with your hands if you're close enough, or a household spray cleaner, disabling the gunman long enough to take control of the situation.
But in the most recent shootings, we've seen gunmen using larger weapons, like an AR-15, for example. Coming up all new at 6, if you encounter someone with one of these larger weapons, some physical moves to consider regardless of your weight or size. I'm Brian Yacono, Eyewitness News.
Now, a story you'll see only on Eyewitness News, survival techniques.
We're asking what you can do to try to save your life and the lives of others if you come face to face with a gunman.
At 5, we showed you a demonstration from an active shooter response instructor of how a gun can be disabled as a last resort.
And new at 6 tonight, Eyewitness News reporter Brian Yacono gives us a look at what you can do regardless of your size or strength.
We grew up being told to take note of emergency exits in case there's a fire. Now we do the same in case there's a gunman. So if there's nowhere to run and nowhere to hide, what do you do?
This is the type of weapon that has dominated the most recent gun debate, the AR-15 style rifle.
Here comes shooter, walking down the hallway, looking for targets. In, up, down. That's it.
This, however, is a plastic model, a fake, used by former police officer, lead training academy instructor, and active shooter response instructor, Alan Garcia.
So if I come in, element of surprise, I rip. There goes the finger.
He explains when all other options have failed. You've tried running away, you've tried hiding, but still you come face to face with a gunman. You can use the element of surprise to defuse the situation.
I'm going to bring my arms in this way and I'm going to twist. Just like this, just like I'm opening a big valve. So I'm coming in, controlling the muzzle, and that's it.
Understanding weapons and listening for the right moment to make a surprise attack, like the sound of the metal clip falling out of the AR-15.
So I'm hiding, I hear that. That's the sound of that empty magazine. That might be the time. Hey, that cued me. I know that weapon it's unloaded. It might be only unloaded for 5 seconds. Well, guess what? I'm going to use those 5 seconds, and that's going to be the time for me to attack.
There are 2 other points to consider. In the case of a handgun, your body weight can rip the weapon from the gunman's hands.
Short arms, bring it in towards yourself, and very simply, fall. Okay? fall flat on your face.
In a second demonstration, Garcia shows us how the gunman typically doesn't expect you to attack. And with the right move, you can turn the tables.
I would raise the gun up and bring it towards me. Now look very closely at what's going on with both the muzzle and his finger, okay? As I pull this down, his finger's stuck. If I continue to go down, one or two things is going to happen. The trigger's going to be pulled, the weapon's going to go off, and it's going to go towards the would-be shooter, okay? But if I really pull and go, you know, I'm going to say in this situation, being selfish is okay, because you're going to end up with the gun and the finger, and my advice is keep them both.
Naturally, Garcia explains every situation is unique and not every technique can be applied to every situation, but knowing you have options and looking past your likely paralyzing fear could save lives. I'm Brian Yacono, Eyewitness News.